strolling to the ring. I think that's the best way to describe it.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, here is your South African champion making his way to the ring, Corrie.
Imagine that the energy expounded in the walk will probably be just a fraction of that that will be expounded in the ring. Let's have all the details then, shall we? Off Mike Biro.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the carousel, the mecca of entertainment, this main event bout is brought to you by Jumbo Cash and Carry. And now, here it is, main event, 12 rounds for the vacant WBU Heavyweight Championship of the world. Ring officials assigned by the World Boxing Union, President John Robinson, Supervisor in attendance, Jennifer Robinson. Your judges at ringside are, from the US of A, Paul Herman and Don O'Neill, and from the Republic of South Africa, Takamili Jacobs. Your referee for this event, from the great country of England, here is Dave Harris. Introducing now, in the red corner, wearing the green and black trunks, weighing in at 113.30 kilograms. His professional record, 22 victories, 10 defeats, 1 draw. He has 20 wins coming by way of knockout. He hails from Phoenix, Arizona, and now makes his home in Dallas, Texas. Here is heavyweight contender, Ross the Boss Purity. His opponent, in the blue corner, wearing the black trunks, gold trim, he weighs in at 104.30 kgs. His professional record, 32 victories, 1 defeat. He has 10 wins coming by way of knockout. He hails from the Republic of South Africa. Here is the South African heavyweight champion, Corrie Sanders. 12 rounds for the vacant WBU heavyweight championship of the world.
Referee Dave Harris issuing the instructions. He wants a good clean fight, big man. And of course, a lot of discipline required when it comes to big heavyweights, because they can do a lot of damage if they don't obey the rules.
Yes, we've seen some rough and tumble heavyweight fights in the last 12 months.
I wasn't going to mention that as we go into round number 1.
And remember, of course, that Corrie Sanders is a southpaw. He's jabbing with the right hand, right foot forward. It's quite mobile for a heavyweight. He likes to move around the ring. Purity holding those gloves rather high, Barry.
Yeah, strange style, although perhaps he knows also that Sanders has got a good left. Referee just says keep it up, but where Ross the boss is wearing his belt is a little high. So he's going to hit that a few times, I would suggest.
Purity has made no attempt to throw a punch yet.
Lunging left, jab, into the midriff. And I would think, don't take your eyes off the screen.
Yeah, this is a fight that could very well have an explosive ending.
And could be very quickly. Covered up, did Ross the boss. Purity, those really just striking the arms of Sanders. Sanders is very aware, you can see it in his eyes. He's increasingly aware of things like that, how things can explode very quickly. Big right from Purity. And that's what Sanders has got to watch.
Well, following his knockout defeat at the hands of Nate Tubbs, the word went around that Corrie Sanders does have a suspect chin. And I dare say that Ross Purity will want to test it.
I would suggest that Sanders keeps that left just a little bit guarded towards the chin. Because that's a swinging right when it comes. If there's any indication the way he threw the first one, it seems to be a lunging, coming forward, and a swinging right from Sanders, from Purity. All the while that's going on, the consideration and study by Purity of Sanders is scoring points. And at this moment, 20 seconds to go in round number one. This will be adjudged to be Sanders.
Well, Purity very much in a defensive mode as we come to the end of the round.
A little bit more left, and certainly let the right go when you need to. And from Sanders' corner, Harold Fulbrecht said he did well in the first round and would suggest he keeps going and moving and jabbing. Holds his hands very high, does Purity. Difficult for Sanders to get through any big punch onto the face, and particularly onto the chin and high side of the head of Purity. And Purity still only let the one left jab go so far. Does so here. Oh, and Sanders almost throws him out the ring. I think that was a bit of a surprise.
Yes, he spun Purity around, and American lost his balance. Luckily for him, he spun away from Sanders, and South African couldn't take full advantage of that.
Luckily for us, he didn't continue his onward journey, but he was on his way through to where we were sitting.
Yes, your left in particular, Barry.
So a moment of concern for us, and probably for Purity as well.
Well, that could serve as a wake-up call for Purity. And my goodness, he needs it. He's done very little in this fight so far.
The big right hand was what his publicity blurb said. He's a big hitter. I've never seen him fight before. I've seen, of course, a lot of Corrie Sanders over the years. He seems to put on a little bit of extra weight, Sanders, and that's probably good for him, as long as he's kept his fitness, as he always was a very fit and a very good trainer, not a, as they call him, not a lazy trainer. This is good work for him, although a lot of these punches are going onto the arms of Purity. But it's all point scoring, and Purity hasn't thrown any punches. Sanders needs to just make sure and be aware that when he does throw a punch, it's probably going to be that right. And when it does come, it's going to come in a hurry.
Lots of mobility from Sanders. Moving to his left, sometimes to his right, as he did then. And all the time, pushing out that right jab. Keeping Purity preoccupied with defense.
Also, nice to see if a punch does come, and when it comes, if Sanders is prepared to go in behind the punch. And that's just a bit of a jab, a left jab that didn't really do too much and didn't give Sanders an opportunity to get in behind the punch. Well, that was a strange one.
There was no knockdown.
Threw the punch and then fell over and laughs about it. Don't laugh too much, get your concentration back. The crowd on its toes.
I would like to see him do better. This is round 3, scheduled for 12. Of course, anything can happen in heavyweight fight, Barry, and usually does.
Yeah, it ends very quickly when the big ones come into action. Both these fellas are big fellas and can punch. I think Purity knows that when he does throw, it's got to land. There's a great possibility that Sanders can come in from behind the right if it goes and land his left. Remembering that, of course, he's a southpaw.
Well, he's got that left hand cocked, ready to fire. From what we've seen so far, Sanders appears to have the faster hand speed, but of course we haven't seen too many punches from the American, so we don't really know how fast his hand speed is.
He threw a very quick right, did he not, in the first round, Bert, but that was a bit wayward when he threw it, but it was pretty quick when he threw it. Sanders is adapting the right approach. He's unloading and then disappearing. So if there is a right that's going to come, he's out of reach by the time, or out of range by the time he's left the vicinity, like that. That right looks ever present, does it not? Up here it is.
Sanders making good use of the perimeter of this ring. Boxing from the outside.
Interesting. See Purity duck down there. The invasion of insects taking place at the moment. Sanders certainly landing the more punches.
He keeps peppering Purity with that left jab. But a lot of them are falling short, you notice. I said left jab, sorry, it's a right jab, he is a southpaw. But very little coming back from Purity. I find that rather surprising, Barry.
Okay, there's 3 rights. Last, a little ironic applause from the crowd. I still think he's got a very dangerous right. Good punch from Sanders, although, oh, that was a good one. Got right through the guard. Round number 4, and Sanders is 3 up at the moment. You'd say 3-0.
South Africans will be satisfied with that.
It was a good strategy, moving the left into play quickly, thinking that perhaps the right jab was going to continue coming through. And Purity covered up for it, and into the uppercut mode went Sanders with the left. Now, trying to cut the ring off with Purity, but then stops the aggression and gets into a defensive mode. I don't think any of these are really telling blows from Sanders. They're not really hurting. Just a little smirk on the face of Purity as he comes out of being pummeled on the arms. And at this moment, that was good. 2 punches, one up high on the head, the side of the head of Purity. and then into the body and moves quickly. That's the tactics that Saunders has got to employ, because there's still a fear of that right, like all heavyweights, can just explode very quickly.
The trouble for Purity, of course, is that unless he starts working, he's going to fall so far behind on points. The only way to be able to win this fight is by a knockout. And I don't think he should paint himself into a corner like that. It's very unwise. Well, maybe he heard me, because now he's letting these punches go and looking quite good doing it.
Saunders has got to be a little careful. Opened himself up there, and now it's Purity's turn. But that's what he waited for. Saunders has certainly got a better shot through when Purity lowers his guard to throw those punches. But our big headhunters here, both of them going for the head. Oh, tries the uppercut, this Purity. They're exhausting punches. Big men throwing them. It saps the energy. And at this moment, I would suggest that the fresher of the two still looks to be Purity. He's not done much work. Saunders has certainly put himself about and has won the rounds. That's good boxing from Saunders. Lets the punches go as the guard drops from Purity. Both of them just hanging in there. And Purity is the man that's probably got to be a little bit more aggressive now. See if he can get himself back into this fight on a point situation, although perhaps that's not even in his mind at the moment. I think he's decided that he's got a strong enough right. He needs to let it go, and let it go quickly. His facial expressions remind me so much of Frank Bruno. Just looks at him, stony face, keeps coming forward, hands held high.
Purity using his arms and elbows to ward off blows. But a useful defense.
Yeah, it's very solid. Doesn't let Saunders through too many times. The only one that really gets down the slot sometimes is the right jab that can get in, and those around the side of the hands also. That's the left jab, right jab again that got through. Saunders using every part of this ring. Two good little jabs through the guard of Purity. Now expect a little bit of an explosion from Purity. They are sore. Look at those. Look at those going in. They're getting lower, I might add, but let's see.
Well, referee Dave Paris having a very close look at those punches. He's satisfied that they're not low blows, but they are on the belt line, believe me. Men head to head. Not doing too much, Barry, on the inside.
Trying to sap some energy, trying to sap the strength of Saunders. Oh, that's a little low, that one, but not so bad. Paris, the referee, in close enough to judge whether or not there was anything in it. Ooh. Keep it up, he says Dave Paris to Purity. This is a battle of stamina.
A nice selection of punches coming from Saunders, and you see the smile on his face, and he has reason to smile. Looked very good in that burst of punching.
It was good uppercut. Try to bring the arm down there again. This is an exchange. That is Purity putting a lot of effort in near the end of the bell. Came back with more punches of his own. Into round 6 we go. And Corrie Sanders ahead on points. But certainly Purity is now coming back into it with a few more punches in the previous round. And all of a sudden, he's now, although the defense goes up pretty quickly from Purity, his arms are down a little lower, Bert, in the general ring play.
Yes, I think those body shots from Sanders are taking their toll. And he has been on the receiving end for most of these 6 rounds, so he will be feeling the effects of the punches from Sanders. Some of them are just peppering jabs, but it's the accumulative effect.
Intriguing encounter this. Corrie Sanders and Ross Purity for the vacant WBU heavyweight title. And the prospects are great for either boxer. And there's talk about a fight against Lewis for the winner. So it's certainly got a great amount of attraction to win this fight.
And if he wins this fight, Sanders will become only the 2nd South African to win a World Heavyweight Championship. The first, of course, was Corrie Coetzee. Yes, I know about Francie Botha, but that decision was reversed.
Yes. And it was a long time ago, too.
Crowd getting a little restless. You hear the slow hand clap. And really, it's largely the fault of Purity, although even Sanders could pick up his work rate. But now he does.
There are good combinations going in as well from Sanders. But once again, you've got to see the tussle that is ahead here. You've got 2 men, one weighed in at 113 kilos, the other one in at 104. They're big men. And at the end of the day, they've got to go 12 rounds. The referee is just having a chat to them saying, right, chaps, let's have a fight here. Let's see what you're going to do. But it's tactics. There's a world championship belt at stake here. You can't expect either man to lay his chin out in front of the other to be hit. This is, understandably, the crowd getting a little restless, but both these men, I'll go along with that. So what have you got a situation? Let's try and assess it as we go into the second half of this world title fight, the WBU version of the heavyweight championship. You've got Sanders ahead on points. You've got Purity, who probably needs a knockout to win. And what have you got? You've got a situation where Sanders is quite happy to jab and move, because he's going to either pick up points and pick up a couple of extra rounds and last the 12 rounds and win the fight, or you've got Purity, who's got to pick up the work rate or wait for the opening to land a big punch. And that really is assessed it, if I'm not wrong in looking at it that way, Bert.
Yes, I go along with that, Barry. I think that Sanders is quite happy to win round after round on points without taking any undue chances. I think the emphasis now is on Purity. He's got to do something and do it soon. He's far behind on points. Yes, he does hit hard, but he's not throwing enough punches. And his work rate has never been good enough so far.
So, Sanders it will be, who will use the majority of the ring where possible to flick out that right jab of his to keep Purity at bay. And Purity will be the one that will want to unleash the right on the target as soon as he possibly can without exposing himself as well, because if he does that, then Sanders will be on him like a rash pretty quickly to take a chance of maybe landing his left that is also pretty damaging. So it's really a game of cat and mouse, really.
It's almost like a game of chess in many respects. But Purity may be leaving it a little too late to make whatever effort he's going to make in this fight. Men are head-to-head, but very little work being done. In fact, just the odd slap coming from Purity to the body of Sanders.
Sanders allowing Purity almost to lay on him. Then again, you don't really want to lift off 113 kilos too many times. That saps the energy on you.
Well, every now and then we see Sanders goes to work. You see a spurt of punches, uses both hands, and that assures him of winning the round.
That's what you've got to watch. Be careful in Sanders' case to make sure the uppercut doesn't do too much damage. Sanders, according to our scorecards, at ringside here, well ahead on points, and having to go for Ross Purity from the United States of America. A man that's got a reasonably good record of only 23 fights. He's certainly 33 fights rather. He's won 32 of them. He's won 10 of those by knockout. So he has got a big punch, as was said in his publicity blurb. Oh, and the slip from Sanders, that really did open himself up. That could have been devastating.
Well, Purity tried to take advantage of that, but wasn't quite quick enough. But now he starts to let his punches go. Good right hands from Purity. They rock Sanders as he's backed up against the ropes.
Well, Purity's got him on the ropes here, and believe you me, 2 or 3 of those punches really did shake Sanders, and he had to cover up very quickly. So he took advantage of a slip from Sanders, and Purity's all over him. However, Sanders might have absorbed a little bit of that, but he has to be watching out very carefully and not be careless. There's still a lot of strength in that right of Purity. So once again, a little bit of a mauling. And both boxers almost taking it in turns to throw punches at each other.
Well, at least we saw in that exchange that Purity does carry a big punch. That's highly dangerous for Sanders, but he's simply not throwing enough.
Sanders is very aware of that now, having been caught a couple of times on the side of the head. Well, that's a good right into the chest region and of Sanders. I'm wondering whether, as we go deeper into the fight, whether Purity is at all at home, although he's very square onto Sanders. Wondering whether he's very at home with the southpaw stance and the movement and the circulation of going away from the right hand of Sanders, as he is now.
Could be a problem for him. But if he does have a good right hand, one would have thought he'd make more use of it, particularly against the southpaw.
Opens him up, absolutely right, Bert. More exposed to a southpaw.
There were a few right hands as well, you didn't see, but that was a good round for Purity.
So Sanders gets that right jab, rather, going being the southpaw, gets that right jab going again. And it's that sort of jab that can slip through the defences like that onto the head of Purity. And it's those punches that will score points for Sanders. That's a good left-right jab again from the southpaw.
Yes, he went to the head and then he went to the body, and as Purity dropped the glove to protect the body, he went back to the head. Very quickly indeed. Smart move on the part of Sanders.
Corrie Sanders, during the course of the 1-minute respite between rounds 8 and 9, looks to me as if he's had a big chunk of grease stuck in his left ear. Might have been opened up a little cut or a little nick or something in his ear from one of those punches. And once again, it's Purity's turn just to slug away at the body on the ropes. And Sanders is allowing it to happen. And now he tries one of his own, digs deep into the body of Purity. This really is a game of cat and mouse, this fight. Both boxers, I think, are aware of the fact that if they open themselves up, either of them can deck each other. And that's always a cautious arrangement for both boxers, just to amble around the ring. They ambled into it, and now they're ambling around it to be very aware of each other's ability to probably knock out each other, which means that they are overcautious, and this leads to this type of fight.
Yes, and I think Sanders has got a lot more respect now for Purity following the bombardment he absorbed in the previous round. He's certainly shown a lot more respect for the American. He's not as active as he had been. And once again, as I say that, he starts to throw a few punches, but they're not really telling blows.
And they're not clean enough. They're not really crisp enough, that was, though, and that could have been a disaster for Corrie Sanders. Just got out of range, just covered up in time. As Purity led off one or two big bombs that he needs to do now because he's well behind on points. And he's going to lose this round as well as we move in to the end of round number 9 after winning round 8. I think Purity's lost motivation. Do it for me, said Harold Fulbrecht. And Corrie Sanders was told really to just keep that jab going, keep it going and make sure you can dig deep. Come on, just 3 rounds to go and it's yours. And I think that's probably right too.
Yes, I would agree with that. He could easily be heavyweight champion of the world, WBU version, at the end of the 12th. Oh, that's a nice jab from Sanders. Knocked back the head of Purity in between the gloves of the American.
Sanders is moving. And I think his corner's probably just looking at the clock at the moment. It's almost like watching the clock on a big football game when you're just ahead, but know that you've got such a good team that you're up against that you could suddenly lose a big pass and get a goal scored against you. But you're just hanging in there, waiting for the referee's whistle to go, and you know you're going to be the champions. And that basically is, I think, how Sanders is looking at this at the moment. He's jabbed his way through so far, he's ahead on points, he's got everything on his side, and now doesn't have to be careless or stand and take too many punches like that. Go into that phase of the fight again, Bert, halfway through the round, when it's now Purity's time to throw a few punches.
Yes, neither man worked in overtime, I might add. And Purity almost falling asleep on the job. Needs a wake-up call. Might get it yet from Sanders. Certainly hasn't got it from his corner.
Sanders just getting a little bit too fluent. His arm just dropping down. Must be careful if he wants to win this title. Because Ross Purity's not out of it yet. He certainly has got the ability to throw a big punch. And if Sanders is caught napping, he'll be sleeping.
Good way of putting it. Very good way of putting it.
These big boys expending a lot of energy. getting ready for this fight, of course, and here they are now. They were sluggish coming to the ring, weren't they? We both made mention of it. One wonders this, where they're very cautious, they're probably over-cautious. Jabbing of Corrie Sanders is what's taken him into the lead, and round number 11 it is. And during the course of the interval, referee Dave Parris from England just came across to have a look in the ear of Corrie Sanders, that left ear, and they'd certainly got a big blob of grease in it. It's to stop the bleeding, I think, is what they said. I could make head and tail of what was being said in the ring, in the corner at the time. And no real worry having a blob of grease in your ear, except that you don't hear the crowd and you don't hear instructions.
When the men go head to head like that, reminds you of a couple of elephants locking horns. Shall I say tuss?
Yes, the show of strength in Africa. The tussle for supremacy for the WBU heavyweight title that is vacant. Ross Purity from the United States well behind on points. Corrie Sanders, the South African heavyweight champion, who's not even been called to defend his championship for the last 4 years or so.
Easy.
And he's well ahead on points. So now it's a case of all or nothing for Ross Purity, and a case for Corrie Sanders to just hang in there and jab his way to victory.
Well, the only way that Purity can now win the fight is by knockout. He is far, far behind on points, and he is largely to blame himself for having painted himself into that corner. His work rate simply not good enough, and yet we have seen, when on the odd occasion when he did start throwing punches, that this man can hit very hard indeed. And his hand speed, not all that bad for a big fella.
Pretty good for a big man. Just a little bit of tape coming off the glove of Corrie Sanders. Nothing tactical about that. Of course, the clocks are stopped while that happens. The referee just asked for timeout.
Still a bit of bounce in the legs of Sanders.
Got to get away from this sort of thing, though. Out the corner is what he does. He does it well, too, and delivers one or two good punches. So he's still on the run, still moving, jabbing, moving is Sanders, and getting through with that jab as well now, Bert. He's opened up, but the hands, of course, from both boxers now, a sign of two tired fellows as the arms begin to drop.
Yes, Purity had a very tight defense at the start of this fight. A lot more lax now, that's understandable. Sanders has taken advantage. Keeps peppering the face of the American with that right jab. Taking a bit of a breather as Purity was banging shots to the head, most of which were being picked off by Sanders anyway with the gloves. Look at that jab. That's a good jab, Barry.
His career is now on these next 3 minutes.
Yes, the career of Ross Purity on the line. And he's got 3 minutes in which to make amends for having sleepwalked through this fight.
Sanders has got to get on his toes, he's got to jab, and he's got to move, and he'll be the next WBU heavyweight champion. Only the second South African to win a title of heavyweight of the world. And also an opportunity for him to go into a really big payday, possibly against Lennox Lewis. And what a career opportunity that is. So Harold Paulbrecht wrote the script. Don't blow it.
Well, Sanders staying on the outside, keeping Purity away with that right jab, not allowing the American to get to grips with him. Basically, what the South African is doing now is chewing up the clock.
He is indeed. And he's doing a good job of it at the moment, too. He knows it's almost sparring in the gym. He's gone back to the gymnasium here for the final round. And he's got to jab and go. Half the round to go.
And as you can hear, the crowd are solidly behind him. It's been a workmanlike performance from Saunders in this fight. Purity is the man who simply hasn't done enough. And somehow, Barry, I don't think he's done justice to his own ability.
I have to agree with you. This has been his own disappointment. He'll look back on this fight if he comes out of it losing it without a big knockout blow to go within just 60 seconds to do so. In 60 seconds time, Corrie Saunders will be the WBU heavyweight champion. I cannot see it going any other way, and Ross Purity will only have himself to blame if he cannot get and dig deep for a big one blow that will put Corrie Saunders to sleep and then allow him to claim the WBU heavyweight championship of the world. But Saunders has done a superb job this last 3 minutes. He's got on his bike, he's been on his toes, he's jabbed, he's run, he's gone left, he's gone right, he's gone away from the right of Purity. This has been a great round with just 20 seconds to go.
Well, a useful left from Purity, a little too late, perhaps. Saunders still covering well. He felt that left, make no mistake about it, but the time is winding down.
Just seconds remain, and Saunders the aggressor, and I think they know, the South Africans, that they have a new world champion.
So now we await the official decision, and I really, for the life of me, cannot see it going any other way. But funnier things have happened in boxing, Barry.
Yes, I think we've witnessed one or two in our time, Bert, but I think this one will have to be the surprise of the century, and it certainly would be a surprise for me if it wasn't a unanimous decision. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if there's not anything between 6, 7, 8, even 9 points could even be in it, as far as I'm concerned. It's been that good for Corrie Saunders from the moment he got in the ring to jab and get his way out around the ring and certainly score points. And unfortunately, Ross Purity laid everything into his right hand and said, that will be my weapon for the evening. I will take this man out with just one punch. And it never came his way. He never did it. And at the end of the day, his wife congratulates him as Corrie Saunders, and I'm sure that is not premature. I'm sure it's going to happen. So let's join the ring announcer for the official result. Mark Biro.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the decision of the 3 judges at ringside. Judge O'Neill scores it 116-110. Judge Paul Herman scores it 119-109. And Judge Pakamili Jacobs scores it 120-108 to the new WBU heavyweight champion of the world, Corrie Saunders.
Well, unanimous decision. They were pretty big. We thought there might be 8 or 9 points in it. That was on my scorecard, and I looked across at yours, Bert, you had almost identical as well. So 9 points difference, and certainly a new world champion. And 119, 110 we had. And let's see if we can go to ringside with Ron Jackson, going to be talking to Corrie Saunders, hopefully.
Corrie, de grootste oomblik van jou bokslewe, hoe voel jy?
Baie bly, hard gewerk. As het geweet is 'n tough opponent, beweging slaan uit in die later rondes teruggekom. Ek het hard geoefen, ek super fit, ek kon nog 15 rondes gegaan het.
Daai oor lyk nie te goed nie. Waar het dit gebeur? Is dit seer?
Ja, hy het my die hele tyd met die kop en met die regter gebal na die oor toe en ek kon voel die oor het begin pop, so hy's nogal seer, ja.
Harold, is this your tactics to stick a move?
Yeah, from the start, we know this guy knocked out Joe Heap, he knocked out Gonzalez, knocked a lot of guys that's trying to fight toe-to-toe. But, Corrie was doing the right thing. I wasn't happy all the time Corrie stand toe-to-toe with this guy. But Corrie surprised me that he can take this guy's punches, and Corrie fought like a world champion tonight. If Corrie fights Lewis, he can jump in the ring with Holyfield, Dennis Lewis, doesn't matter who it is.
Well, nobody thought Corrie would go 12 rounds. I thought it was a great credit to South African boxing and to Corrie, a great win, the WBU champion of the world.
Thanks, Ron. It feels great.
We're happy about it. We waited a long time for this fight.
Great, well done.
So well done. Congratulations then to Corrie Saunders, the new WBU heavyweight champion of the world. Harold Falbrecht said it all, really. He said the tactics was to go out there and to jab and to probably keep away from that big right of Purity. He said, Saunders, that it was a fight that he understood, that he had to gain the points and certainly make the other man probably come to him, but it never really happened. But he took control of the fight. He felt he had control all the way down the line. So once again then, a superb evening's boxing here at the Carousel. The Cedric Kushner